Hey everybody, we're here to talk today about a very important issue affecting our society.
Join the congregation.
Listen people, we're here to talk about The Lion King, okay? So...
Nah!
Disclaimer, if you have not seen it yet, get rid of this video. Just don't watch it. Come back and watch it after you have seen it.
We're gonna give you 5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds.
5 seconds, okay.
We'll give you a moment of silence.
Here we go.
To exit.
Is that enough time?
I think so.
Okay.
If you didn't exit by now, then you just want the movie to be spoiled.
You're gonna spoil the whole movie for yourself, and guess what? I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry.
We're not liable.
Lion King, it's a big movie. It's a big movie. It's the juggernaut movie right now. It's the Disney's remade classic into this new, nice, cinematic thing where the lions are real, the animals are real.
Everything is real.
The violence is not cartoon. It's right in front of you now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same.
It really wasn't. It was not the same. And that's not to say that it wasn't a good movie, because
It was a great movie.
overall, it was a great movie.
I think I'll score it at the end of this video, but it was a good movie.
It was. We just have some things that we just want to address and then see if maybe you all thought the same thing.
Okay, so we want to do a little comparison. So let's
Yeah.
talk about the new versus the old.
New versus old.
All right, so new, how about the opening sequence?
Okay, the opening sequence was absolutely, that was just perfect.
You
Like,
see
it
the
made
sun
me emotional.
rising, and then everybody, I think I almost cried. I was like,
I
do
know.
this, don't do it, man.
I looked over and I'm like,
Nah, I was like, don't look at me. I'm not crying over my man about this.
I was literally smiling the whole time. I was just like,
Beautiful.
this is real. And we watched it in IMAX too, so it was just beautiful. It was like, oh my God, this is happening.
So they did that right.
Yeah, opening
All the
scene,
way right.
absolutely perfect.
All right, but other things as compared to the cartoon,
Yeah.
the intensity was off.
Yeah, it was off a little bit.
When, like, Mufasa's death, untimely so, his brother Scar.
Yeah,
Just-
it was a lot less dramatic than it was in the cartoon. And I think I would have liked to see, I didn't feel as much as I wanted to feel when
Yeah.
he died, because it didn't seem, the buildup wasn't there. And just throughout the movie, the buildup wasn't there.
And you know, in the cartoon, when he dies, he just, and it's slow motion, and
Yeah.
you see him, and then Simba, nah.
Yeah, and then
So-
they had that zoom effect.
Yeah. So they do that in the cartoon, but in the real movie, they kind of didn't do that. He kind of just fell, and Simba was like, no, and you see him,
And then we move on.
and then it's over.
Yeah.
So his death didn't last as long.
But also the build-up to his death. Remember, even when Scar was with the hyenas.
Yeah.
And they didn't really do that song long enough, and that part had a lot to play in too. About
The Be Prepared. They kind of cut that song really short,
And
and
they-
they changed it.
they changed it a
Be
lot.
prepared.
Be prepared.
It
I'm like,
wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be this plot to
Right.
end the king.
exactly, and it didn't feel like a plot to end the king. It just
Like-
felt like he was like, I mean, we may or may not kill the
I
king.
was gonna say you might not live until
Yeah.
when the stampede arrives.
Yeah,
So-
and as an owner of the Lion King soundtrack, I know what it's supposed to sound like.
So they were supposed to have done more with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. What are some things we thought were missing?
Oh, missing.
Let's start with the baboon.
Oh, the baboon. Yes, Rafiki, the baboon.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's woo! You know, doing the thing, holding the staff up. And at the end, he's karate fighting with the staff.
Exactly. And remember, he was hitting him on the head.
Hit him in the
His
head.
character altogether, it just kind of seemed like they just took his character away almost, because he had a lot less lines.
But he was a good character, so
He was great.
he was there as Simba's kind of spirit guide to take him to see his father in the
However,
reflection pool. But
that connection between them was lost.
it was lost.
There,
Yeah, it
because
wasn't there.
Simba didn't know who he was, and they didn't spend much time together. He tried to teach him a little lesson, but it wasn't the same. Simba didn't know who he was. He saw him for half a second, and then he was gone.
And if you're a fan of the
And-
original movie, then you'll like the part when he smacks him over the head.
Yeah, but he gets to know him.
I know your father. And he
That
was like,
was-
what do you mean? Like, smack him over the head.
Exactly. And there was just, they didn't really do a good job explaining the relationship between, even though Simba didn't know what their relationship was, they didn't do a good job of letting that fester a little more.
You know what? They didn't even say his name in the movie.
Oh, they didn't. You're right.
I don't think I even heard his name that one time.
They didn't. There was
That was a lost connection.
That was lost.
All right.
And then when he was going through the struggles of trying to find himself,
Yeah.
and he was upset, and he's like, "You said you'd always be there for me." Like
You
the
missed
father
that
part.
They missed that part. So
Yeah, they didn't.
they took out a lot of the other emotional parts for
Yeah.
extra parts. But his relationship with Timon and Pumbaa was relatively the same.
Oh,
And I
that
think
was awesome.
Even though I'm not a huge fan of Seth Rogen, I
Yeah.
think they still did it. He was
They
still really
balanced
funny.
each other out.
Because they didn't let him just take over. And
Right.
Normally Seth Rogen, like, yeah, dude, and
Yeah.
talking for a long time and making corny
But
jokes.
Timon and Pumbaa overall, they were really funny. And
They were.
there were parts with Timon and Pumbaa that weren't in the cartoon, but
Yeah,
it was really
they
funny
extended
anyway.
a lot of the parts.
They made me laugh a lot.
Okay. So now we got to talk about the problem of the movie. The biggest problem. Actually, there's two big problems, but there's one problem. This movie had a special edition that it really didn't need. And by
Unnecessary.
addition, I don't mean EDITION. I mean ADD.
ITIO.
Addition. Not addition.
Not edition.
I can spell. Anyway.
Anyway, can we take a moment of silence for this?
Moment of silence for what did not need to be in the Lion King movie, which could have been left out.
Could have been left out. Could have been someone
Was not
else.
a selling point for
I
me.
hope by this point
or
you know
anybody.
what we're talking about.
Ruined the moment.
Absolutely
With her
ruined it.
horrible voice acting.
Horrible acting altogether.
We want to talk about Beyonce Knowles-Carter.
Beyonce. Why were you a part of this movie? Why?
First, I will say I'm not a Beyonce fan, and I haven't been for a long time.
Same.
Since Get Me Body.
But agreed. That was my last album that I liked from her. Otherwise, I have not been a fan of her for a long time.
And they put her in this movie. She didn't need to be Nala. No. Nala could have been a number of other people. I suggested Jordan Sparks.
Yep, Jordan Sparks.
Soft
she has
voice,
a soft voice,
good singing voice.
She's also a good actor. Because she's been in a handful of movies, and she does a relatively decent job.
But they wanted to go with Beyonce.
But Beyonce, because here's the problem. When you hear her, you know it's her. And her voice always sounds the same, and she doesn't know how to change for the role.
It doesn't change at all. Her
and
voice.
Then she was singing.
Her voice as Nala, it just sounded like Beyonce. It didn't sound like, hey, I'm this character now, and I'm gonna be.
It was honestly distracting.
It was.
Because every time I heard it, I'm just like, ugh. It's like I was imagining Beyonce standing there. And
Lions attack! What an unnecessary line.
They gave Beyonce extra lines, and we're like, okay.
It's unnecessary lines.
Nala didn't say this much, and for good reason.
And Can You Feel the Love Tonight? They didn't need to re-sing the song.
No, Can You Feel the Love Tonight is such a gentle, emotional song.
Yeah.
And with her growling and howling all over
the king? I know it's too loud.
It's gentle.
It's gentle. Calm
Relax.
down, brother.
Right.
Take a chill pill, Knowles.
Relax.
Knowles-Carter.
No.
You don't need to be doing all that.
Whatever they call her, Beehive, all
and
that
then
stuff.
she released her album to kind of mix it with, which is good marketing. Hey, she getting her money. I'm not mad.
I was gonna say, I told you she did that with Dreamgirls too.
But it just didn't need to happen.
No.
In Lion King, this is just a classic movie,
It was
and
classic.
they ruined it. They ruined a part of it by putting Beyonce in. Unpopular opinion. Some people might be like, "Oh, you're just a hater. I love Beyonce."
Well, you can love Beyonce's music all you want, but you have to acknowledge the fact that her acting is not the same.
No.
She can put out a good song, but her acting there is no separation. When you are acting, that's just it. You're acting. She's not acting. She's literally
She's
just
Beyonce.
talking.
I'm just talking.
She would sound the same way in an interview or in any conversation. It just sounds like her all the time.
Didn't go over well.
Yeah, she didn't change
Didn't
at
go
all.
over well for the movie and for what the movie could have been without her. It just distracted. Honestly, even Childish Gambino's voice as the adult Simba, his voice isn't mature enough to be a grown man. See, I understand they want to have it to the point where it's not as powerful as Mufasa was.
Right.
This is his young son that's coming up, but
Yeah,
his
that's
voice
true.
is really, small and squirrely.
I told you when I first heard it, I was like, who is this?
Who is that?
And the way he dropped off the notes at the end, I'm like, is that John Legend? Because I didn't know who was going to be in the movie. I didn't know who was going to play.
Definitely wouldn't make that mistake. But.
Yeah, no. But he sounded better. And had he been coupled with a better female voice, I think his voice would have just meshed better. because him being coupled with Beyonce and she's like overpowering.
She's overpowering him.
Yeah, it was it was too much.
For those of you that don't believe, I challenge you this. Go listen to Can You Feel the Love Tonight, the new version, and really listen to the equalization of their voices. They had to actually bring Beyonce's voice down because it was so much louder and more powerful than his is.
Yeah.
And it's not, Can You Feel the Love Tonight is not a powerful song. It's a
really
powerful,
not.
emotional song. But it's not a
And,
powerful singing song.
You know, they did that too in the movie. They didn't let that scene run as long.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't let the...
I honestly couldn't wait for that scene to be over.
I mean, I couldn't either because Beyonce was
singing.
just howling and it was terrible. But for the emotion part, because there were parts in the movie where I was like, ignore Beyonce. Like, just let it happen. Like, watch the movie. So for that part, I wished it would have been longer, but also I could not stand to hear Beyonce say another word in that movie. I was so ready for her lines to be...
Beyonce could have stayed at home. She could have been there with Blue.
I'm telling you, I really like the suggestion of Jordan Sparks.
They could have went and watched the movie. They didn't have to be in the movie.
They didn't. And it's not like that was a selling point because that movie would have sold with or without her. No one said, oh, I gotta see it because Beyonce's in it. No. People said, I gotta see it because I gotta see it.
I gotta see it. But yeah, Jordan Sparks could have done it. I don't have time to sit here and think of other singers. It could have been somebody else.
Yeah.
Could have been somebody else with a softer voice.
Yeah. And they don't necessarily have to be relevant, you know?
No. They could have been somebody from before. But
it could have been anybody.
All right, so now we've reached the end.
Yes, the end.
And now
we've smashed Beyonce.
Do what?
Oh. I meant like, you know, talk about her. Okay, we're gonna move forward.
You like me, right? Anyway, all right. So now the overall score. I give the movie an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say 8 is fair. I was thinking maybe 7.5, but 8 is fair.
8 is fair.
I was being a little harsh on 7.5.
Well, Beyonce brought it down maybe almost the whole point.
One thing we didn't say though, they did get the Just Can't Wait to Be King. They did get that on point.
So some of the stuff is right.
That was a fun song.
Some of the stuff in the movie is right.
I could agree with 8. I can go with 8.
8. So 8 out of 10 is what we give the movie.
Yeah.
But you should see it. Honestly,
yeah.
It's still the movie that we always wanted it to be. It still has all the good songs, the opening sequences, and now it's real. So now you're like, oh my gosh! I recommend spending the extra money seeing it in IMAX.
Seeing it in IMAX, the real IMAX.
The real IMAX,
where the screen is floor to ceiling IMAX.
So you're sitting there watching it, and you're just like, oh look, a bird over there.
Way over there.
Wait, what's at the bottom of the screen there?
That's a water splash.
Oh man, the water, dude, with the rhino stomping in the water and the splash. It's cool.
Definitely see. I mean, because here's the thing. Even though we had our own feelings about it, overall, it's still the classic movie that you loved as a kid.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth seeing. And I mean, obviously, this is for the people who haven't already seen it, who decided to stick around and listen to our critique anyway. But
we're not movie critics. We
really
want to give you how we feel, but we want to hear how you feel.
We had a long conversation. We talked for probably like an hour and a half on the way back.
And we're like, we need to record this video.
Yes, about how we felt about the movie. So
we want to hear how you feel too.
Yeah, let us know.
Like, comment, DM, all the above.
DM.
In the DM, let me know how you feel about the king of the felines. And we're at 14 minutes, so bye.
See ya.